Hey!
Hey! Welcome to, this is now the second episode of
The Social Inquiry Podcast. I didn't know you were waiting for me.
the Social Inquiry Podcast. Thank you. Yes, we named it. It's right now. It's a growing
It's a growing thing.
effort. And yeah,
Yeah, you know, that name actually came to me, and I looked up what it was about. I looked up the Social Inquiry to see if there was anything about it, and it was something about a college program or something they were running.
I believe it was Yale.
It might have been Yale. And there was some type of forum they were doing about something. I'm really not sure. But the actual definition was the crazy thing, which was something about law and enforcing law and someone giving their last plea before they're decided guilty or not. And so that was funny. But for us,
there was two definitions, and that's why the first part, yes, has something to do with law, but there was a second part, and it's exactly what it is: social inquiry. You're inquiring about, we're talking about some social things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, then that's the whole goal. We're just going to come together each week and inquire about, the things that I heard about, the things that Deavon heard about, and just kind of go from there. I'll jump right into it. I know we have a couple things to talk about, but the first thing that I want to talk about is
get into
Fortnite, yay! Hey, right. So the reason I bring up Fortnite is because they dropped a new season today.
What do you mean by season? This is his topic. I'm gonna let you.
Yeah. So Fortnite. I mean, obviously, some of you guys probably have played the game. Most of you probably have. But they have different chapters and seasons, and each time there's a new one. They have new things introduced to the map, new guns, things like that, new characters.
Okay.
Yeah. And each time they usually drop someone pretty cool. They've had Batman on there. They've had other Marvel characters, Iron Man. I know they've had some of the Fortnite players. Ninja has his own character. You could spend $20 of your parents' money to go and buy Ninja.
They did a great job keeping mainstream and with it. And I mean, not anybody that plays it, but I know they have the dances and the guns.
Well, absolutely. I think what we'll do, I'll put the new cover page for it somewhere over here, or try something like that. But it's pretty cool. There's a lot of new characters. Some for me. I mean, the big one for me is Rick. It's Rick from Rick and Morty.
I do love that show.
I love that show. And you got Rick as the character, and Morty has his hammer to kind of knock stuff down with, and
wow.
It's pretty funny. I'll show you the cartoon animation. It's funny. But the reason I wanted to talk about it and how it can relate to our show and what we talk about is just that game's perspective on how games should be played. How they should interact as a community, how they could easily get people to spend money on the platform while you're actually playing the game. And it's actually really fascinating to see what they've done and what other games have done things similar, even before them or in a comparative time, and things that have come after that are competitive.
Yeah, and I like that you touched on that, because it's not just how it was and me as a kid growing up, where it was just a new game came out, $50, $60 for your system, and then that's it. Now that first game, they don't even sell the disc anymore. You download it, and then it's that second, third, fourth sale. They keep the customers more engaged and more for life as a customer, instead of just.
Fortnite has a battle pass thing, and it's totally based around that. So
like a subscription,
sort of. So a battle pass you purchase once, you purchase each time, but you actually pay for it with dollars once. So I think a battle pass is $10 worth of V-Bucks, and then you can purchase the battle pass. So you buy with your credit card V-Bucks, go into the game, use those V-Bucks on the battle pass, and then you unlock a whole thing. And what the battle pass is you get to advance levels, and as you advance, you get new characters and stuff. So here's the gag. It's just while you're playing the game and you're advancing levels, they're giving you V-Bucks. They're slipping in V-Bucks for you. And
incentives.
And it's cool, because what it does is, what they want you to do is they get you to spend them on different things. Or what you can do, and they always allow enough V-Bucks to do this, is use the V-Bucks that you make from the previous season to purchase the next season.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to go out and spend more money. You literally just, you get to buy the next season of the game. So it's like, it works out.
Basically, they definitely tapped into a market. I mean, how many people do you think play that game?
Millions. I don't know, maybe billions. I don't know. You're going to have to look that up. But millions, there's been like covering of plenty of famous people, sports athletes, entertainers that will play Fortnite, sometimes even with the professional gamers, as some type of promotional thing, or just hanging out and streaming it, and people love.
I know people make tons of content just streaming on Twitch. That's a platform, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're playing the game.
I got a buddy that streams on Twitch.
I know somebody that does that's local around here that does very well with it. It's just the different age that we're in.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, he doesn't actually film himself while he's playing, but he'll stream like what you would see on the game.
And commentary behind, or his voice, whatever.
You hear him on the mic. You'll hear him scream and stuff, but he's not like addressing any of the people that comment. But some cool things, like someone has popped in, like people pop in and will say something and leave the chat. But you'll get random people that pop in and donate. Like someone came in and popped in and donated him like $180, and they were like random donation number or whatever, and he was donating money just for having. There was like 6 followers.
That's even with Instagram Live, they got the hearts of $1, $2, $3, same thing. I mean, that's you.
So is that what you can do now? Can you send money on Instagram?
If you're on Instagram Live, and just like I think on YouTube as well, but yeah, if you're on Instagram Live, because I actually sent a couple dollars, whatever, you just show some love, and that's what it is, a heart. You're showing love, like. They're taking their time. They're spending live, and
so wait, are you giving $1 of your actual money?
I actually gave $1 of my actual money
through Instagram.
I
didn't know you could do that.
You know the way the Apple links, your credit card, your debit card, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I just didn't know. I've never done it, but why wouldn't you? It's like if you endorse what someone's doing and you want to show them love, send them some money.
There's a new platform I keep on hearing called Patreon.
It's not that new.
It's new for me. I haven't heard of it.
Patreon's cool. I mean, I've never been on Patreon, but I know a lot of people that like have used it. I watch a lot of people in other podcasts where they also have Patreons, and I guess it's just like it's a way for people to interact with the podcast a little more. It's something that we would want to do, honestly.
Yeah, I believe it's like a lot of Q&A. If definitely if you want to.
Yeah, and you hook the people up because I think it's a paid service. I don't know if there's any free Patreons. I think it's mostly paid for.
Yeah.
But then. Like, I watch Joey Diaz, his podcast, and, like, all of his videos. He's hilarious. But every time you watch his podcast, he talks about, like, talking with him on the Patreon and them getting a sweatshirt or them getting something for being on the Patreon. And, like, it's a way to give back and be more social with the people that are with your viewers. So it's a good thing. Patreon's cool.
I like that. Hey, so recent news. Might as well talk about it real quick. Fauci's email.
Yeah.
Fauci's emails. Do you know anything about Fauci's report?
I've only seen what other people have talked about the emails. I haven't looked through all of them myself and read it word for word. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Fauci's cool, and he does to me look like a harmless guy who's probably caught in the middle of like. What would be normally like a breakthrough in his career for having so much limelight if it wasn't for like the detrimental like occasion of what it is, or what like COVID was. So I'm sure he's at like the epicenter of a lot of people looking at him, even like from the very beginning. I mean, there's been just little things about it. Do you have the email pulled up?
Yeah, as you were talking, I was trying to find something. So. My research, let's see here. So something states exactly in the beginning of this whole COVID mess. I don't want to get too much into the whole thing, but basically he said masks don't work. He reiterated that maybe a few weeks later, a month or so, whatever. And then these emails came out basically saying that he standed on the fact that the masks don't work.
Yeah, he said he was talking to someone else, right? And he was like, for the occasion you're going to, for being outside, like I would not recommend you need a mask, which It almost sounds like he's talking to a friend. It almost sounds like he's like, listen, pal.
I'm going to give you an answer. Basically, like, listen, don't worry about it, you know? It's
I
almost
don't know who the email was. Does it say who the email was to ever? 'Cause
No, it definitely just was a friend. And it was just like, I think it's just a normal social thing, and he's getting a lot of backlash. It's just a lot. Also, and it's not, that was one email that I remember, but also another thing about, he is in charge, or he actually funded the place that was doing the research.
Yeah, well,
on
that's
these
the
diseases.
freaky part. Because I was going to say, he was talking to a friend. He probably didn't want to freak him out. Probably knows that although it is a virus that spreads to the normally healthy, the person he's probably talking to, who he would, I don't know how the person was.
Just think of it, and this is a good analogy. I think it's like, if you're giving money, let's just in war's perspective, if you're giving money, like banks have, the federal reserve banks have gave country money to go to war. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you're funding something that, you know, can go wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And of course, that's what that's what they're saying doing. He funded, or his organization, whatever, funded a different organization that funded the gain of function research, I think is what it's called.
I believe so.
And yeah, I was trying to talk to my mom about it. But it's crazy because, like, obviously these viruses are nuts. Like, and maybe not COVID, but the ones that you could, like, imagine are brewed up in these labs in, like, these super tanks of people. Yep. They're probably nuts, and it's a terrifying thing. It's like a bad horror sci-fi movie
Exactly.
that's like too real. But it's it's crazy. I'm sure if he had some function with the lab. I mean, I don't know exactly. I didn't know who Fauci was before COVID hit, and
he's definitely the COVID-19.
But he's sponsor. Been the COVID-19 like
sponsor.
He's been like their brand ambassador,
mascot. That's what exactly I heard someone call him, a mascot.
Yeah, and like it's a harsh word to put, like ambassador and mascot, but like he was our go-to guy. And here's the thing: there was so much speculation in the beginning that people like outcasted as like conspiracy right away, and they were like, that's not right. And you're a conspiracy theorist, and that's nuts. And here's the thing about that is because everyone was scared, they were just looking to they were looking for reassurance from someone that was like of a place in power. And when you have like the CDC, when you have people like Fauci on air saying something that then you have the other newscasters like just reiterating versions of what he says to their own like local channels. Like, it's a lot of pressure for someone, but you never know. Like, those sciences might need to be done for the betterment of people eventually, because the whole thing is like they're trying to test viruses and see what makes them tick, like what makes them stronger.
It's just a matter of control and being on top of stuff, and us as human beings are always looking to pick at stuff and see what we can
what can we pick at? Yeah, what can we mess with in nature and make it crazy. That was at the end of the Joe Rogan podcast. Is they were talking about, like, I don't know if it was the end of the podcast, but they were talking about nature and the things that are far more terrifying that can jump from nature that can cause so much worse things.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's what
just watch some Planet Earth and you'll see what I'm talking about. These poisonous frogs, giant mosquitoes. What's next?
I mean, just recently, just the Sunday we had a Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fight, and we touched on that in the first episode. That still hasn't, we're still working. But anyway,
they're gonna come out, guys.
But yeah, I mean, we have a YouTuber that fought one professional fight before and lost, fighting a 50-0 coming out of retirement for this entertainment fight. And the reason why I bring this up because it was just strictly for entertainment, and people saying, hey, this, like, it was what if he knocks him out, what if Floyd knocks him, like, it was a lot of what ifs.
So here's the thing, and that's what, there was a lot of like subtle hype before it, because obviously the Paul brothers are all about creating like the drama on social media and like getting people to talk about it. Floyd's the brand of like hyping things up and making it worth some money, some
and
actual
I mean, he's
value.
a genius himself.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So they do their hype thing, and even like I was watching it, and at first they were like, Floyd's not gonna give an interview, and then I was like, all right, well, I don't know why that wouldn't happen. And then a couple of things happened on screen. I think they might have done an interview with Paul, and it was like they were looking at him and whatnot, and looking at the crowd and everything. And then all of a sudden, Mayweather was on the screen doing an interview, and it was strange. But what he said to me, he was like, went up to me, he said to the world, "This is for entertainment." He was like, and it was. Like, we know he's retired, and...
and not to cut you off, but in general, isn't just boxing as a sport itself
well, yeah, all sports are entertainment.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So. But he's talking about not tarnishing his record and being like, no, this is not going to count for that. And that's what he did with Conor, too. Was there... I don't know.
It wasn't. I don't think it was something on his record because it wasn't a real boxing match. He was always 50-0 going into that fight. He was 50-0.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's the thing is that like not that he was going crazy and hyping it up on things on social media, but there was some type of chatter back and forth, and then it was like right before the fight, Logan Paul was literally in his room listening to like tranquil spa music, and Mayweather was like, "This is gonna be fun. This is a good time. We're shouting for fun." And then after the fight, it was good talks between the two camps and between the two fighters.
Yeah, because
like,
they walked away with how much money? I mean,
how much money? A couple like red marks. That's it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's very. They planned it out. It's just very cordial. Hey, let's put it together. They did a great job doing that. I mean, it was a lot. Like I said, the fight was boring. What do you expect? An old man that already got some money fighting a young buck that isn't a professional.
Floyd's
fighter.
good though. Floyd's still so good. He was like in there just practicing, like dipping, dodging. Like it was fun to watch. And then obviously it got a little redundant, and it was a wacky thing to watch, and it was for the entertainment.
I saw the. I didn't order the fight. I was actually out at a wedding that evening, but I did see they had it on Showtime pay-per-view for $50.
Yeah.
You think people were buying
that money?
People were buying that show in Bitcoin? You think there was?
I'm sure people were buying it in Bitcoin, but actually, like right now, and that's the thing that I've been talking about with my friends is like we're happy because the stock market's up. I don't know if you've been watching every day, but like the most of the market is up, but Coinbase is down. Like all.
Do you know?
Crypto coins
I know
like
it's numbers. They did IPO not too long ago. Do you know where they came out and where they're at now?
Which
Coinbase.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean Coinbase in specific. I meant crypto, so my apologies.
Okay.
But no. So what were you saying about the IPO?
Oh, Coinbase. They went public, and this was they timed it perfect. This was the height before we had this dip in the crypto market. Coinbase as a company went public and sold. I don't know. I didn't buy any shares myself. I don't actually use Coinbase. I just find it a little more difficult. But anyway, they went public. As a crypto company that buys and sells, and then it dipped down. Obviously, the stock went down. So, this just puts us now, and we're in that dip of, hey, what's going on with it? I'm sure there's a lot of, mentality, hey, get out, and people think they want to buy low and sell high, but when it comes to emotion in the stock market or trading or buying anything and investing, you feel like you want to buy high and sell low.
Well, that's what it's funny, and the interesting thing about it is if you're actually on the platforms, and I only use the platforms that I use for like stock trading. I'm not on Coinbase, but the color usage is the funniest thing. How like on days it's higher, it's green, which makes you want to go, makes you want to buy more while it's going up and everything, and then you have red on the down days, and the psychological little mess that it does in your head for 20 seconds when you first look at it. You see all the red. It's like you scroll down, it's like a waterfall of red.
Yeah, so that is, I actually watched. I invested a few $1,000s into the crypto market, and I watch analysis videos. And this guy, he breaks it down very good. He's been in the market for a while, and he basically says what feels right. Do the opposite, and that's sort of with human nature. When it feels good and you want to buy more, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta know, and you gotta. It's never.
But like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you not to buy. I'm not telling you to buy. It's just my, where I'm at and what I learned.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta know what you're willing to part with what your goal is to gain, and just be aware of those things, because you'll get caught in runs where it's dipping and it's not going according to plan, and you're worried, and you gotta see if, can this get back in line with like the long-term goal of this stock, or even the short-term goal of it. And it's how you want to adjust your money and play with your money.
So yeah, Bitcoin and stock market. I'm still learning, but something I do know is the real estate market.
Yeah.
This time right now in the 2021 era of the real estate market, it seems to be literally nationwide, or in majority of markets, at least here in New Jersey. I believe California is the same way, Florida, tons of states. There's just naming a couple of them that I know, but here in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something. Well, I have this question. If you're selling, like, we have the housing market that seems to be high. It's like right now, everything's high. It's a great time to sell, and that's right here. What does that correlate to, like, properties? Is it like the same thing as if, like, you can sell land high at this point in time as well, too?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what it is. It just seems to be a supply and demand. I mean, land is a little different because, you got, farms, you got acres, you got just lots where people want to do new construction.
Yeah.
And also right at this time right now, lumber prices are, I believe, 3x than last year. And that's just inflation with everything. Gas has gone up. Yeah. But yeah, we have a supply and demand issue right now. I believe this year, or should I say 2020, record high of people from New York City leaving and moving out. I mean, people are leaving New Jersey as well, but I don't know those numbers. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you have a lot more people buying than selling.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of appreciation that came in, and it had me come to a thought of what actually is a shortage of inventory. Like, what causes that? I mean, if not being in real estate, just in general, like, what causes people, like, if 10 people are trying to buy the same house, like, what?
Like, why can't I buy a PlayStation 5 anymore?
No, meaning like in a sense, supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
But in a sense of like, okay, you have to manufacture a PS5 and give it to people, but do we not have enough homes in this state or in the nation for people to live? And that's sort of more in depth of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm sorry, but
no, but that's
no, it is. It's definitely.
Wait, are they still selling PS5s?
No, you can't buy them anywhere. Yeah, they're not making enough of the parts, and they're not putting together enough of the parts, and they're not shipping enough of the parts, and now you can get it for $900, and it'll like get delivered to your house, and it won't be a PlayStation.
And that's a lot of stuff right now. I mean, that the scenario of, hey, because things are shutting down, because people can't get material, because things can't make stuff.
Yeah. Well, listen, before we go off of the housing thing, because I do want to touch on the point, and I just been thinking about it a lot after seeing the, like, villages in California of the homeless people, and even people in our town that seem to, and I don't know if they're homeless, but they're sitting outside of stores, and it's a little strange. The one thing I did notice, I was like, the people here on the East Coast, they'll ask you for stuff. Over in California, I wasn't asked
nothing
once, anything. It was interesting.
You can't be mad when it's 80 degrees every day.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, those people weren't looking for jobs or houses or anything, and you see more and more houses trying to be sold, and that sold at good prices and whatnot, and you're like, so where's the money going? We all just got an influx of cash from the government, like these last two, what are they called? The checks.
The
stimulus checks and whatnot, and
I'm still waiting for my second one. I didn't get it yet.
Absolutely.
Come on, Biden.
But you have a bunch of people that put money in the market and are new investors that made money and sold at the right time, sold before the dips, and that's a lot of new money that just went out into the world, and there has to be room to put them all, but I feel like there is housing. I see housing, at least in my area.
Yeah, it's slowing. I don't want to say it's slowing down because it's still hot, but there there was a memorandum basically saying you can't evict tenants because of the COVID. They didn't want people kicking people out, court system. But what I believe July 1st, that memorandum is over and they'll start the eviction processes. So in the market, speaking with sellers, people have tenants and they couldn't sell because they couldn't get them out. Now that they'll be able to do that, there should be more homes on the market and a less supply and demand going forward.
Wow.
And that's not me speculating, saying, hey, we're gonna have a bubble. That's just, hey, more homes, more tenants. Even in the rental market is actually very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely here. But
yeah. I don't know much about the housing market, and I know my brother rents out there in California, and he's paying a little bit to live in a little place, and because everything out there is crazy. But I did see a YouTube video. You should check it out. It was they were selling a Beverly Hills home for $60 grand, and the way the guy did the walkthrough, not $60 grand, $60 million.
Okay, thank you.
But the way they did the walkthrough, it was done very well. All basically in one take. Well, I guess not. I'm sure they did some good editing, but they it was just a walkthrough, no music, just the sounds of like the water that was flowing through the house and whatnot. And it's crazy because those houses, once you're out there, it's like those houses, and then it's like 3 minutes, and then it's like, no, no more.
And that sort of wants your transition from the California $60 million they're trying to sell it. That sort of sets us up for Biden's tax proposal. I mean, I don't know.
Fill me in on this.
So, like I said, I don't know, but I did watch some videos, and basically he's trying to raise capital gains taxes. At what percent? I'm not too sure, but it's significant. I mean, almost, I believe, like 10% in some ways. And capital gains meaning, hey, $60 million mansion over there in California, and they want to sell, hey, that, let's say it's $100 million, 10%, that's $10 million, that you're giving to the...
That's getting taxed back?
Yeah, that's just for somebody else getting in office, and then you selling it, and then they say, oh, no, we need that as tax.